The Duchess of Cambridge has just launched her first book called Hold Still, and at the same time, the Duchess of Sussex has launched her first book called The Bench. But public reaction couldn't be further apart. So today, I'm looking at what I believe are the conscious and unconscious factors that may determine which book tops the bestseller list and which book will soon be in the Walmart bargain bucket. If you're new to my channel, I'm Sue Blackhurst, and I can help you to find confidence and build more constructive relationships with people around you. So if you'd like to learn how, stay watching and I will tell you more at the end of this video. And if you do enjoy my videos, please do like them and do share if you can. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when my new videos are out. Well, after months of collaboration, preparation and anticipation, the Duchess of Cambridge first book, Hold Still, was released on Friday the 7th of May. And it documents the amazing heroes and acts of kindness throughout the whole of the UK during the 2020 pandemic. The Bench, also a first book for Meghan, is a children's book inspired by a poem that Meghan wrote to Harry on Archie's first Father's Day and will be published on the 8th of June. Both books have, of course, received so much media attention, and unless I've missed something, there doesn't seem to be a bad review about Catherine's Hold Still, which has shot to the #1 spot of the bestsellers list. Whereas Meghan's book, The Bench, is struggling to gain many positive reviews from the media. Now, I'm no art or literary critic, and I'm not looking at the content or the layout, etc. I'm more interested in the fact that I believe that the success of either book is actually driven by the motive of each project and the underlying message that it sends out about each author or creator. So let's look at each book in turn and I'll explain my thoughts. Well, in my mind, Catherine has this innate ability to make other people feel more important than herself, which shines out in the foreword of Hold Still. So, written in her own words, the Duchess of Cambridge says, "When we look back at the COVID-19 pandemic in decades to come, we will think of the challenges we all faced, the loved ones we lost, the extended isolation from our families, and the friends and the strain placed on our key workers. But we will also remember the positives, the incredible acts of kindness, the helpers and heroes who emerged from all walks of life, and how together we adapted to a new normal." Hold Still is a book about overcoming adversity. It's about pulling together in the face of human tragedy with images that show resilience, hope and courage as people come together to support those who are more vulnerable than themselves. The photographs depict every human emotion, but what they all show is real people who live real life with real consequences. Well, the one thing that strikes me is that you don't need to be from the UK to really resonate with the images and the stories behind them. But more importantly, there is no hidden agenda or secret message about life in the Cambridge household. It's a book for other people, about other people, and a book that will be shared by generations as a depiction of the 2020 COVID pandemic. The book is through the eyes of others. It's about their world and their story. Catherine isn't promoting her own life and during the pandemic in any way. Basically, the book matches our views, thoughts and opinions of what we believe we know about the Duchess of Cambridge. So let's take that same Hold Still book and pretend that it was released by Meghan. I'll read those words again against what we believe we know about the Sussex household and see how it projects a very different meaning altogether. When we look back at the COVID-19 pandemic in decades to come, we will think of the challenges we all faced, the loved ones we lost, the extended isolation from our families, and the friends and the strain placed on our key workers. But we will also remember the positives, the incredible acts of kindness, the helpers and heroes who emerged from all walks of life, and how together we adapted to a new normal. So let's now have a look at the motive behind The Bench. Now again, it was inspired by a poem that Meghan wrote for Harry on Archie's first Father's Day. A day when Archie was incredibly lucky, not just to have his dad, but also 2 granddads and a great-granddad. That's 3 other father figures for Archie that he will never get to know. The Bench beautifully captures the special relationship between fathers and sons, as seen through a mother's eyes. The book's storytelling and illustration give us a snapshot of shared moments that evoke a deep sense of warmth, connection and compassion. In The Bench, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, touchingly captures the evolving and expanding relationship between fathers and sons and reminds us of the many ways that love can take shape and be expressed in a modern family. The Duchess's debut children's book gives us a window into shared and enjoying moments between a diverse group of fathers and sons, moments of peace and reflection, trust and belief, discovery and learning, and comfort and nurture. And this is where many are left feeling quite bemused, because so many are out there scratching their heads thinking that something doesn't quite add up. When what you see and what you hear match, it's called congruence, and it means that you trust and believe what's in front of you. But when what you hear and what you see, whether in reality or in your mind, doesn't quite feel right, it's called incongruence, and it leaves you with this gut feeling that something just isn't quite right. When hearing Catherine talk about acts of kindness, it is congruent. But hearing Meghan talk about the loving bond between father and son leaves me wanting to bring Oprah in with that famous quote of, "What?" Because The Bench was written by a woman who has disowned her own father, took her husband away from his father, and then went on global television to discredit the father-in-law whilst Grandad was dying in hospital. So is that really Meghan's strongest subject that she can write about? The book has received so many poor reviews for its literacy skill in both the press and on social media. Now, I love the video by According to Taz, and she did one on the book, and I think she hits the nail on the head, and I also found it a very funny video. You can catch it here, and I'll also pop the link in the description box below. It's well worth a watch if you've not already seen it. And even though I agreed with everything that Taz said about the book, I also feel that the response would be completely different if Catherine had written and released The Bench. And here is my reason why. With the exact same blurb that we had before, let's put Catherine and the Cambridge family next to what was said. The Bench beautifully captures the special relationship between fathers and sons, as seen through a mother's eyes. The book's storytelling and illustration give us a snapshot of shared moments that evoke a deep sense of warmth, connection and compassion. In The Bench, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, touchingly captures the evolving and expanding relationship between fathers and sons and reminds us of the many ways that love can take shape and be expressed in a modern family. The Duchess's debut children's book gives us a window into shared and enjoying moments between a diverse group of fathers and sons, moments of peace and reflection, trust and belief, discovery and learning, and comfort and nurture. When discussing the book against the backdrop of a family who actually live and stand by the words written, it gives the reader a feeling of congruence. And that means that we trust and believe the writer and accept their words as being genuine. It's all a sales process at the end of the day, because we know that we like to buy from people that we like, which is why I feel that the negative reviews of the content are merely a diversion from the fact that Meghan has invested time, money and effort into creating something in an attempt to validate her own position and worth. So what do we think the response would have been if Catherine had written a children's book about the relationship of her father with his sons and daughter, and Meghan published a book containing a montage of pandemic photographs? Well, Catherine would have been praised for sharing an insight into her beautiful family, whilst Meghan would have received criticism for taking all the credit and stealing the limelight and other people's struggles with her own stories of hardship. And that's why our relationship with both duchesses differs so much. The whole still book doesn't have the Duchess of Cambridge on the front, the spine, or the back cover. Her glory is seeing everybody else take the spotlight, and for that we warm to her genuine humility. The Bench, however, has Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, written in the middle of the front cover, not at the top or the bottom as most authors place their names, but just as Meghan wants to be seen, taking centre stage and making sure that the spotlight remains firmly on herself at all times. So it's not as much about what Team Cambridge or Team Sussex do, it's more about how they do it and how they go about what they present. You see, all communication happens in the terms of the receiver, which means that everything that you say or do is filtered through the other person's frame of reference, which are based upon previous experiences, biases and preconceived ideas. And this is where the danger lies, because the receiver will walk away with a message and a judgment that they have constructed on their own belief, which can often be quite different to the message that was originally being sent out. The perception is that William and Catherine are certainly the royal golden couple of the moment and can do no wrong, whilst the Sussex duo, in the eyes of the media, can't seem to do anything right. But it's not just their actual actions that we are judging. It's how we interpret what they do based on the image that we have already formulated in our own minds. Let's say William and Catherine, for example, post a black and white photograph of Louis, and we will adore Catherine's creative photography. But Harry and Meghan post a black and white image, and they are automatically hiding something. And why do we think that? Well, it's because that view matches the views that we have of each family based on the evidence that they keep feeding us. So what could or should Team Sussex be doing to create this same positive impact as Team Cambridge? Well, the key to most things in life is actually identifying and deciding on the outcome that you want before actually doing anything. You've probably heard of the book Start with the End in Mind by Stephen Covey, and it's absolutely true. Because if you don't know what reaction or response you want, how on earth can you make sure your delivery projects an image that encourages those in front of you to buy into who you are and what you actually represent? It happens on every first date, job interview and social media post that we make. What we do, whether consciously or not, is to think about how we want everyone to react, and then we work hard to get the reaction that we want, whether that's to laugh, cry or even to be shocked. And all social media platforms provide little icons to enable the viewer to tell the creator what they think, and the creator then uses that information to plan their next steps. So if I do a video and I get 1,000 thumbs down and no thumbs up, well, that tells me something, which is basically nobody liked what I did, so don't do it again. And of course, the opposition is to get all thumbs up, which tells me to keep on going with what I'm currently doing. So what is my point here? Well, my point is that with so much negative press around the Sussex actions, why don't they try listening to the mass feedback and try doing something differently? Team Cambridge seems to be on this perpetual cycle of test the waters, gauge the response and adapt to the needs of the audience. Basically, they listen to the feedback and deliver what we, the audience, want. But Team Sussex appear to be ignoring every bit of feedback that they ever receive, insisting on doing it their way. Catherine has always stood behind William and delivered what the public want, whereas Meghan seems to stand in front of Harry and tells the public exactly what she thinks they need. Well, I've ordered my copy of Hold Still, and I hope that my children go through it one day, and maybe their children, to relive what we've experienced over the past 12 months. I now wonder if Meghan is currently planning volume 2 and 3 in the series. Called to the bench, where their daughter takes her father to court, or On the Bench, where her husband sits patiently waiting to go out once again and play with his friends. Well, the doors are open again to join me for my 8 weeks one-to-one training to show you how to find your confidence. So if you judge yourself believing that others see you as foolish, weak or incapable, or if you hate the way you feel when faced with new people or new situations, and you end up turning down invitations, missing out on group events and opportunities, rather than having to make conversation, it's time to do something about it. Working together on a one-to-one basis twice a week, you will learn how to rethink and reevaluate what people say. You will gain control of your thoughts, dismissing all of those that are neither relevant nor accurate. You will learn how to interpret behaviours of others, enabling you to manage the impact that they have upon you. You will learn how to approach individuals and groups with confidence to initiate or engage in conversation with ease. You will basically regain control of your life. So if you want to get onto my waiting list, simply email me with the words, "I want to find my confidence." The email address is in the description box below. Thank you so much again for watching. It would be a massive help if you could like and share my videos. And of course, don't leave without subscribing and following me on Instagram. Do take care. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all next time.